Hello everyone, welcome to William in the Magic Box. Today we are celebrating 300 interviews on the show so far. Oh my god, that's very exciting. And to celebrate this very special occasion, we are going to have the handsome, the sassy, the very friendly singer and actor Jim Newman from New York. Jim, thank you so much for the interview. Thanks so much to be part of this very special day. Thank you very much, and I hope everyone enjoyed the interview. Thanks so much to all of you who has been supporting this beautiful journey called William in the Magic Box. Thank you very much and enjoy the interview. Hello. Yes, okay. Perfect. How are you, Jim?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. Thanks so much. Thanks for taking your time to do the interview with me.
No, you're welcome. You're in UK, right?
Yes, I am in London. Yeah, but I'm originally from Brazil, from Mato Grosso.
Ah, serio? Mi fiancé is from Mato Grosso.
Oh, really?
Serio?
Which city?
Sergio, what barrio in Mato Grosso? Paranatinga. Paranatinga. Você sabe Paranatinga?
Yeah, I tell him I'm from Barra do Bugres.
Ele sabe.
Barra do Bugres, São do Rio Claro, Cuiabá, the capital, of course.
Sim.
Okay, Jim. So before we start the game, just tell me where you're from.
I'm from Alabama, but I live in New York City and now New York City and Sao Paulo because of my fiance.
Also, you moved to Brazil now for good.
Part time. He lives here, I live there, so we are back and forth now.
I see.
But I've been here for 6 months because of COVID. I'm a live performer. I do theater and I'm in a band, so all my work was canceled. And he can't go to America because of travel ban. So I've been just sort of hanging out in Brazil.
What a good place to be hanging out, yes?
Yes.
Right, tell me a little bit about your career, Jim, before we start the game.
Okay, well, I got a degree in theater and music, and so I moved to New York to do Broadway. And so I did that for a long time. I guess I still do that, but about 8 years ago, I joined the band The Village People. You know the band Village People, YMCA? So yes. I replaced the cowboy in the Village People about 8 years ago. So my main job since then has been traveling the world with the Village People and doing some film and television, Daddy Hunt. I had a couple of things on Amazon Prime right now. So that's sort of how my career took a curve to the left, But it's been amazing. It's completely different from theater, but you reach a much bigger audience and you get treated better. And you don't work as hard. It's a lot easier being a Village person than doing 8 shows a week,
Very good. And in your opinion, what's the best part of being in the show business and the most challenging part?
The best part is the creativity. It's so creative, and I'm a creative person, so I need outlets that are creative. That for me is the best part. The challenging part is it's really unstable, So you have to just trust that you're going to find work and pay your bills, and sometimes things happen like COVID, and for 16 months, all actors, all people work in theaters, all people in live concerts, everyone's out of a job. So the good news is we've been hustling since we started this career. So we know how to figure out a way to make ends meet until we can get work again. But it's the older you get, the scarier it gets, because I'm 57 now. When I was 30, I lost a job, you get another one. You're 57, you think about a lot of things, health insurance, things that you don't think about when you're younger. So that for me has been the biggest challenge.
And I think as well, as you mentioned, I think the show business, the uncertainty is a bit exciting at the same time as well, because don't know what's going to happen next, in a way.
Yeah. There's always like this anticipation, and you have these moments that you wouldn't trade anything for, And I look back on my choices, and I'm super grateful because I don't have regret. I have no regret, and that to me would be the worst thing. That's when I decided to do it. I decided if I don't move to New York and give it a shot, I'll always have this feeling of like, I wish I had tried, And I was even prepared for failure. Failure I could probably deal with, but I don't think I could have dealt with the regret. And so for me, it was the right path. Definitely.
I have a very good friend of mine, English good friend, and he told me once, years ago, said, William, not knowing it's a powerful place to be.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Well, the thing is, there's no such thing as really knowing. You can think you know, but COVID, no one predicted COVID.
Because
so you can have the most secure job in the world, but it doesn't totally mean it's definitely secure, But yeah, maybe that's why COVID for actors has been tough, but also we're used to the unknown. It's part of our lives. So emotionally, it was probably easier to handle for us. Financially, it sucked, but
Very good. Jim, so welcome to William and the Magic Box. I've got my love box full of random fun questions, okay? Are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your lives in memory and your point of views?
Yes, let's do it.
Great. By the way, thanks so much for taking your time. I know you are in Brazil. I'm sure you are having a good time, and you take your time to do this interaction with me. And if there is any question through the interview that you don't have an answer for, they're all random questions, or you don't want to answer, always can pick another one. Okay, very chilled and relaxing. Okay, I just want you to have a good time. Okay?
Cool. Yeah.
Let's do it. I hope you like the music. Right, ready for the first question, Jim?
Let's go.
Let's do it. Right, Jim, what's the best present have you ever received and why you consider that?
Oh, best gift I ever received. The best gift I ever received was from my father, and it was a plane ticket to New York because I couldn't afford it. And having a father is terrified that you're going into show business, but still buys you a ticket to give your son like that shot. He wants, even though he wanted me to probably be a lawyer or something, but that ticket in retrospect means a lot more than I realized at the time. I thought it was just my dad buying my ticket, but now I realize how hard that was for him and how much sacrifice it took for him. So that ticket changed my life.
That's amazing. How old were you at the time?
I was just out of college, so I was 21.
God, that's amazing. So you always had the support of your family in being part of the show business.
Yeah, they were great. I mean, they didn't want me to major in that in college. They wanted me to get a secure job, but they knew I don't think they thought they could stop me. My college was complete scholarship for the arts, so they didn't really have a say of what my major was. And I think that they thought, well, we can't stop them. So he's our kid. We gotta support him. I think because of that fear, their pride was even higher because they know how challenging my career was, and to have done so well, it made the level of their pride go up too. My dad actually loved what I did in general. Like his secret dream would have been to do that. He was a singer also, so he was probably the most supportive in my whole family. But he's a lawyer, terrified that he was going to be sending me money the rest of my life. Yeah.
Right. Let's go for the second question.
Okay. Magic right there, man.
Yes. Right. So before the next question, Jim, tell me, is your first time in Brazil or have you been before?
No, I've been before. We came with the Village people, and then I have a really good friend in New York who's Brazilian, and I came New Year's with him a few years ago. And then I went a bunch of times. This is actually my second Brazilian boyfriend.
I see.
Go figure. You know what? I'm an artist. I like passionate people, and Brazilians are very passionate, so I'm drawn to the passion.
And I was about to ask you, what do you like the most about Brazil overall?
Yeah. The passion, passionate people. When a Brazilian kisses you, you're like, oh, that's how a kiss is supposed to be. And also I just think it's a culture that is the culture's passion, not just the people, like just the culture's passion, the way they dance. My fiance is a furniture designer, and we just went to a big exposition of a bunch of designers. And there's so much craftsmanship in Brazilian, artisan craftsmanship in Brazilian work, and so because of that, there's just a soul in Brazil. It's not like Walmart, or it's a different vibe, and I love that.
Very good. Next question for you is, what is the most difficult thing have you ever done?
Oh, well, the most difficult thing I ever did was, this is sort of dark, but it's what came to mind. One of my shows, opening night shows, my dad came with my stepmom. We had an amazing time at the after party. I took him to the hotel at 2 a.m. and at 4 a.m. I had to take my dad to the emergency room. He'd had a massive stroke that he actually never recovered from. Passed away 4 years later. So it was so difficult because my mind was on a high from opening night of this great play. And then 4 years later, you're trying to tell your dad it's going to be okay. And my dad couldn't talk because he had a stroke. So he was looking in my eyes and tears were coming down his eyes. And he was saying, I'm sorry, I ruined your opening night. It was so painfully heartbreaking. And he was worried about ruining my night. I had this massive stroke. It was just my body just didn't know how to deal with that kind of emotional change. You know, sorry, that's really heavy. I don't know if that's what your show's about. But
no, it's just genuine. It's a genuine.
It was the
answer.
hardest thing. Yeah, it was the hardest moment of my life for sure.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. Amazing. Next question. Let's do it. Right. What is the most scary thing that ever happened to you?
Most frightening thing? I had a really bad experience on an airplane once. It was like 40 minutes of extreme turbulence, like things falling out, luggage falling out, everyone screaming. The stewardesses couldn't get up out of their seat, and it was for a long time. And I never experienced that kind of lack of control. And after that experience, I had like panic attacks on 3 flights, and I had to get on like a medication. But now I'm fine. It only lasted for like 3 more flights. But you know, I think that's just something you maybe have so many images of movies, and I think all of us really thought, oh, this may be my last moment on this earth. And you start saying the prayers in your mind and the thank yous and I've really never experienced that kind of I'm about to die. It's terrifying, horrible. Yeah.
I'll tell a story that happened to me in the past. I was living in Portugal before moving to the UK, and I went to Holland to visit a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine. So at the time, I flew to London, and from London I just got another plane to Eindhoven in Holland. And on my way back, one night before I was in Holland, I had a dream that the plane was crashed. Can you imagine? One night before anyway. So I said to my friend, okay, I'm just going to the airport now just to let you know if something happened to me. At least I told the story that I had a dream with a plane crash just last night. He was like, well, don't be stupid. Nothing going to happen. Anyway, so it was 2 flights. So I flew. The first one from Eindhoven to London was okay. But for the flight, was like 40 minutes flight. It was very quick. And I was tense, I was just this in back of my mind, was all playing in the back of my mind. Anyway, my second one was from London to Porto in Portugal. Everything was going okay, everything was going fly, everything's moving. Like 1 hour before we landed, I was just kind of resting a little bit my head, and suddenly I just saw everyone pointing, like literally just some points in the back of the plane, like this, like scary, like just pointing and make some noise. I'll tell you something, Jim, I couldn't even move myself. I was like, okay, it's time now, it's gonna happen. I can imagine, like, it was 40 minutes before it landed, and everyone was looking back, like pointing behind, like something was happening in the back. And I was like, oh my God, I couldn't even look back. I said, okay, it's gonna happen now. Anyway, so people started like kind of, speaking loud, and I kind of look back as well. Look what happened. One lady, she had a stroke, like she kind of had a problem. And so everyone was kind of pointing to help her. Oh my God, my heart was beating so fast. Can you imagine?
You were being helped, yes.
Oh my God. Then I look at her and said, oh my God, what's happening? This lady said, I don't know, the lady just had like she just had a stroke, a problem. I don't know what was the problem. And guess what? There was a doctor in the flight. There's always a doctor. There's always a doctor in those flights. Yeah. Anyway, so everything she covered up, and she had this, somebody helped her. And yes, but imagine myself, everything went okay. When we landed, the ambulance was just waiting for her, so everything was sorted. But for a minute, I said to myself, okay, done now. I completed my mission here in this world.
No, I would too. There's a movie about that, Final Destination. Do you know this movie? It's the same movie. So that would be in my head too. I would be terrified.
Anyway, let's go for another question for you. Jim, let's get another question for you. Okay, if you met someone sad in the streets, what would be your advice to this person?
If they were sad,
Yeah, you met someone sad or cry in the street, what would be your approach to this person? What would you say to this person?
I would say, "Are you okay? Can I help you?" I don't know. I live in a city that has a lot of indigent and homeless people, New York City, and I work in a food kitchen for people who are homebound, and I don't always give them money because I think a lot of times I can tell where that money's going to go, but I still will never ignore them. Like, I refuse to just let them not exist. So, and even when they say something nasty back when I say good morning back, or I'm like, I just don't want to be that guy that gets so jaded. So if I saw someone crying, I would definitely go over. Is there anything I can do? Can I get you something? Is there someone I can call?
Next question for you. Next question for you is, good one. If you could sit down with yourself when you were 13 years old, what advice would you give to yourself at the time?
Oh God, stop being ashamed of who you are. I'm gay, so that's about the time I realized that I might be gay. And I grew up in a very religious, very deep South town. And so I hid it I didn't come out till I was 31, and all that self-loathing and that shame, it did a lot of damage. And I took a lot of years of therapy to repair. And I would love that opportunity to go back and go, relax, hang in there through high school. You're going to get to New York. You're going to find a lot of people like you. You're going to leave. You're going to stop carrying that religious dogma and the societal dogma that you're bad or you're broken or you're going to burn in hell. I would have gotten rid of all of that. Just been like, okay, this is who I am. How do I fit into the world? If I had that mentality at 13, I can't even imagine what my life would be.
How was the situation when you came out to your family? How things happened at the time? Did you just literally come out, or?
Yeah, I tried for a long time to be very religious, even in New York, trying to pray the gay away. And then around 24, I realized this is not working. It doesn't go away. So then I was just sort of in the closet at work, but I had friends there. And then around 20, and I had a girlfriend, it's on and off, so I was sort of 28, I guess. From 28 to 31, I was like bisexual. I really wasn't. My bisexual was really, I just didn't have the courage to face head on who I really was. But I told my sister first, because she and I were very close, that I was bisexual. And my family, actually, I got to say, they're not very religious. They're very progressive. So they didn't have a hard time. My mom had a hard time because it was the 90s, the early 90s, mid 90s. So she was afraid it was going to die of AIDS, because that's all we saw on the news, So I understand that fear. So she probably had the hardest time. My brothers didn't get it. My brothers, I don't care. What do I care? So I'm one of the lucky ones whose family didn't disown them. Or my dad wrote me this beautiful, beautiful letter saying, "I'm proud of the person who you are. Who you sleep with, that's not my business. You're my son. I love you." It was amazing. I was surprised. Usually you think the dad's going to have a harder time, but my mom actually had a harder time.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
wow.
She also had this weird idea that, it's not weird, but at that time, the only images we saw in the media really were like a drag queen or a gay pride parade with flamboyant guys in Speedos, or like people dying of AIDS. So we didn't have a lot of healthy images on media at that time. So she also had this weird idea that I was going to come out and then become really flamboyant. Like, that's what happens. And then I'd embarrass her in public and stuff. Like, it doesn't work like that, no. But she came around pretty quickly, actually. Less than a year and a half. She was like, okay.
Very good. And you are the youngest or the oldest? So in the middle of your siblings?
I'm the baby. I'm the baby of 4, 2 older brothers and a sister.
Cool. Another question for you.
Okay.
Right, next question for you, please. What is your favorite weekend activity?
Well, I love to dance, and this COVID has made me want to dance even more. Like, everything closed. That is probably my zen, to go dance to music, friends. I just love group. I love group dancing, because I feel like group things are being lost with social media and technology, but people still want to go out to a club and they still want to dance. And I'm going to be like that old 70-year-old guy at the club, still dancing, because for me, it's a huge release of stress and energy. So, and those clubs are usually weekends, right? Saturday night. So I cannot wait for that to come back.
And do you know how to dance samba? Have you learned yet?
I have learned. The village people did the Brazil, I guess it was Brazil Day. I guess it was Brazil Day in New York, and there was 250,000 Brazilians, and we were singing our village people songs. But these four beautiful girls said, "I'm going to teach you the samba," and so I came off stage and I just stayed in the crowd and I just was sambaing with these four girls. It's not exactly what I thought it was. For some reason, I was thinking samba was like, I don't know, like slow and sensual, but it's fast. It's really fast footwork. It's not what I thought it was at all. It's very difficult.
Very good. Are you enjoying the show so far, Jim?
Yes.
Yeah? Cool.
It's awesome.
Another question. Right, before the next question, who is your favorite artist in Brazil?
He's still alive. His name is Neymar Grossa.
Oh, yes. Grossa. Yes.
I'm a huge fan of his. And for many reasons. He's got an incredible voice, just starting there. Also, he sort of created, he's sort of like a David Bowie from Brazil. He created this persona. He's amazing live. I would kill to see him live. And also his politics are super brave. Like, he's very, very courageous. So I have so much respect for him as a person, his career, but also his music. I love it. I actually recorded a song of his that I put on YouTube. Yeah, I love it.
Very good. Can you sing in Portuguese, by the way?
No, I sang when I was reading it. I didn't memorize the Portuguese. Although I'm studying. I'm getting close. I have to do a song by Legião Urbana.
Legião Urbana. Okay.
Yes.
Very famous.
I have to do a song. I have a request from my own fans to have to do one of those songs. So I'm gonna try to learn that one and not read it while I'm singing. You know.
Cool.
Actually, I think it will help my English. I mean, it help my Portuguese to learn songs in Portuguese. You know.
Absolutely. In your opinion, what's the best part and the worst part of living in New York?
The best part is the energy. Like the energy in New York, even when I'm on a slow day, lifts me up. So I can feed off the energy of a city like that. It's so vibrant, it's so diverse, with every kind of music, art, culture, food. So that's the best part. The worst part is sometimes it's just too loud. You know, it's just too much. And you just I just need a country for a weekend. I just need to go to the country for a weekend. Like just walking home on the subway and it's cold. And there's a lot of people, and it doesn't smell great on the subway, you know. And some days were like if I had a bad audition, for example, and then I run in and I can't get to my home because of the train stop. That's the downside of that city. And that's usually why when people visit, say, "Oh, it's a great place to visit, but I don't know if I can live here." That's usually the reason why.
Next question for you is, tell us a funny story or a moment that happened to you when you were at school.
Well, I was doing a play in college, and we were in rehearsals, and my friend Angelique and I were dancing in a dance contest, and we had won the first 2 weeks, and so it was the finals of this contest, and the way that chose a winner was by audience applause. So, and I would do a round off and a back flip while we were dancing, and usually it's what won the crowd over because people could dance, but not people could flip. And that was usually what won other people's friends over. So this was the finals, and I think we were going to get like $500. It wasn't that much. But in college, that's a lot of money back then. So we were in the contest, and it was the finals, so everybody had their friends at the club. So they were crowded the dance floor, so there wasn't as much space. So we were dancing, and I said to her, "I've got to do the backflip," and she said, "You know, we're dancing." She's like, "You don't have space." I'm like, "If I don't do it, we won't win," because I thought that was like the thing. So I went for the backflip, and I didn't make it all the way over, and I broke both of my feet. And I didn't know because my adrenaline was going. So we just tried to keep dancing, and after I was like, "Oh, my feet are really hurt. I think I twisted my ankle," and I woke up the next morning, and both of them were like huge. And I had to drive myself with the clutch to the doctor because my grandmother didn't drive. I got 2 casts and had to drive home with two giant casts on my feet. That was, and then I went in to tell my professor, because it was at a play, that I couldn't do the play. He said, Jim Newman, he was British. No, he was South African. He said, Jim Newman, you're an asshole. That was it. And I didn't get to do the play. So I guess it's not really funny, but it was funny. It's funny at the time because it's so ridiculous, your mindset when you're in college, how that was more important than this play that I was doing. You know, I didn't know. I was stupid.
Good. Next question for you. Right, before the next question, tell me how the Village People band came into your life. How did everything started out? Your journey.
I guess because I'm from the South, so I played a lot of like Southern characters and cowboy parts. Even on Broadway, I played Southern. I played cowboys in the theater. So there was a lot of imagery of me online as a cowboy singing country music. And then one day I was doing a play at off Broadway, a great play, and I got a call from the manager who had seen my last Broadway show. And he said, "Hi, I'm calling from the Village People. The Cowboys retiring after 37 years, and we wondered if you would be interested in coming in and talking with us." And I was like, I didn't actually know they were still together, you know, because it was a long time. And I was like, no, I'm in a play. I'm not really available, but thank you so much. You know, I didn't think anything of it. 3 days later, I got to work and they had a closing notice of our play. We were closing. And I was like, oh man. So I called them back and I was, boop, 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 boop. Hey, is that cowboy position still open? And I went in for them and they were all sitting there. There was only one original that wasn't in the band anymore. And I sang, I think I sang Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me by Elton John. And then they gave me like a little dance. It was super easy because I'd been dancing on Broadway. And they called me that night. And I just thought I would do it for a little while until I got another show, another play. And I went out on the road with them, and it was so much fun, and there was so much exhilaration. And it was so different because the theater, you're telling a story, there's a wall, you don't look at the audience. This is the opposite. My job is to connect with as many people in that audience in one performance as I can because they feel that. He looked right at me, you know? And we sing these songs. Obviously, those songs make everyone happy. So the difference between theater is people come to the play and they paid a lot of money and they want you to give them a good show, prove yourself. The Village People, they don't have to do that. They came because they already love me, you know? So you walk into a sea of love, and then of course the audiences are much bigger. So it was just sort of one of those random, you know, I put cowboy images in the universe. I wasn't trying to be a cowboy in the Village People, but it paid off because they saw them and they Googled me and I went and sang for them and they're like, yeah, it's been the most fun job I ever had.
Amazing. Cool. Next question for you is, who has been the most influential person in your life and why?
I think my high school choir teacher, who also like put me in the theater. And it was for a lot of reasons. At that time, I was like 13 or 14. My parents had just divorced. My mom went through a really bad time with alcohol. So home was not a haven for me. You know, it was really uncomfortable and painful. And she was a teacher who never had kids but loved kids. And so when she heard me sing when I was that age, she was like, oh, I should put you in this play. You will love it. And she just became like a mentor throughout my whole life. She just not just inspired me to have confidence in myself, but also inspired me to do what he loved, you know, because even though she was a teacher, she was teaching what she loved. And the great turnaround for all that for her was I did this play on Broadway with Liza Minnelli, and we had a duet. Liza and I became friends. So she got to come to New York and bring some of her students, and I brought them all backstage and met Liza Minnelli. And she was so proud that energy she had put into changed the kid's life. And I think for me, the heroes are teachers for sure. They all of them. I had a lot of support network in high school at a time when I really, really needed one, especially for like if you're secretly gay and you're in the arts. In the South, it's all about sports, you know? I mean, really in the world, to be honest. But in the South, it's really, that's where all the funding goes. That's where all the parental support. And if you're a kid who's into the arts, you're left behind. So to have a teacher that was so nurturing and inspiring, it really, really changed my life. I tell her that all the time.
Good. Next question. Let's do it. Okay, Jim, next question for you is, usually what's the first thing that you think about when you wake up?
When I wake up, breakfast.
Actually, I
I
saw.
wake up.
Sorry, I saw one video that you posted with some bread and some bacon and eggs, like for
Yes,
your.
that was yesterday. My dad used to make breakfast on like Southern breakfast, like eggs, bacon, and toast and milk for church on Sunday. So I'm a big breakfast person. I love breakfast. I'm also not a morning person, really at all. So I'm a lot better after I've had my food, and then I feel like then I'm ready to start my day. But generally, I don't really talk much before breakfast at all.
Are you a day or night person, by the way?
Night. I'm a vampire. Most people in my industry are if they're live performers because it's always at night. You get out of your show and you go to work at 7. The Broadway show starts at 8. You finish at 11, and you're still wired with energy. So you come home, you eat. You can eat before the show, and then you watch TV. And I usually go to bed around 2 a.m. Wake up at 10. That's sort of my schedule.
Did you ever had a situation like that you can share during a play that you forgot your lines? You have like a fun story?
Many times, but the worst was I was doing a play about John Denver, and I was playing John Denver, and I did a lot of narration, which means it's not a conversation. So when it's not a conversation, it's all on you, right? And I don't know what happened. I've been doing the play for 4 months, and then one night I just got to this part, and I started to talk, and I couldn't remember my line, and then I panicked, and I was like, it's only my lines. I couldn't. Usually you can fub your way, and I literally just had a panic stop, and I turned around and I asked the cast, what do I say here? And one of the girls gave me my line, and I was like, no, that's not it. It's like horrible. And I finally got back on track, but like for like the next, sort of like when I had that experience on the airplane, for like the next 3 weeks, I would get to that part of the play and my heart would race, and I stumbled one more time, but I never dropped the line again. But it's weird when something you think you know so well, your brain just drops it. You don't know why, and then you think that could happen anytime. When I'm driving, like, so it was horrible and super obvious. And I had one more that was. It was a song, and I had a duet with a girl. It's Kendra Neff, who wrote Cabaret in New York, and Chicago. I was doing a new play of theirs, and they had written a song for me and the girl, and they were there because it was still in previews. And we came out, and we had made a joke before we went on stage, and we came out, and she said one line wrong in it, and I looked at her, and we just started laughing, like a terrible, like super unprofessional laugh. And I know the composers had just written a song, and they're watching us, and we're trying so hard not to laugh, and we're both crying, and it was a complete. I mean, luckily the audience laughed because they saw us laugh so much, but it was so unprofessional, and especially in front of these composers who I'm so respected. She and I still talk about that because we've done a lot of shows in Broadway, and we were like, that is the worst break of character I've had in my career. Wow, terrifying.
Good. I have 3 questions left for you. Okay?
Okay.
Let's do it. Right, I've got a question for you. Can you make other accents, like worldwide, like British or?
I could do a British accent. My first Broadway show was The Who's Tommy, Pete Townsend. So we all spoke in British accent, and so I talk in a British accent all the time at home, and it drives my boyfriend crazy. But I don't even know if it's good, but I love to do it. And I also love British actors. Like I love like Maggie Smith, like these classic British actors. I adore their sense of humor. So I talk in a British accent all the time. I used to be able to do an Australian accent, but it's not so good anymore. I can't really do it as well anymore. I need to learn Portuguese, a Brazilian accent now that I'm here.
So what I'm going to do, can you answer the next question in a British accent?
Of course. Absolutely.
Okay, Jim. So what hurt your feelings?
What hurts my feelings? Well, I'm online a lot. I have a large following on social media, and they hurt my feelings all the time. In fact, I had 4 or 5 women yesterday. I posted a picture with my shirt on, and I said, this is for all the ladies who say I look better with my clothes on, because I do a lot of shirtless clothes. And so they wrote back messages that goes, definitely look better with your clothes on. And I don't think they realize how super hurtful of someone's feelings to tell them they look better with their clothes on than they do with their clothes off. So, fuck them.
Amazing. Thank you very much. It was amazing. Right, 2 questions left. Let's do it. Right, before the next one, so far, what's your favorite place in Brazil?
The Amazon. Yeah, I've been fortunate to go twice. We went recently to work with some underprivileged kids on an art exposition about photography. We gave them like cameras and then showed them how to take interesting photography. And then we're going to go to exhibit at a museum in Rio and in Manaus. And I don't know, it was beautiful. First of all, it's just busy. Visually, it's just beautiful. Like the lush green. The water it's brown, but it's really clear. It's also perfect temperature, so it's actually great for swimming. It also has a lot of acid in it, so there's not that many mosquitoes. It's actually perfect, and it's really, really like lush, tropical, beautiful, and like just the nature, like the birds, the plants. It's just so beautiful, and also it was a school that they had said underprivileged, right? So I was expecting like these rough huts, and it would be. No, they make it a beautiful home, even though they don't have a lot of money. Like it was painted, they would take like a liter Coke box, and they do this cool stuff and put plants with them and hang them. You don't even know it was a Coke box. It was so beautiful, and the kids were. I don't know how I expected either, but they were really hip. Like they have online because it's a school, right? But they were like they had like blue hair, and they were dressed. But the girls were dressed for like they were teenagers, they were sexy. I was like. What? And they, a lot of them stay in these villages, and they, there's no roads, no cars, everyone travels by. Their school bus is actually a yellow boat,
Wow.
And but talking to these kids and looking at their pictures, and a lot of them worked with where their families worked, a lot of them artisans. It was such a beautiful, like, giving, compassionate life. They had a support system, and I started thinking about that word underprivileged, and I hear it a lot in America. And there's something now that just reeks of capitalism to me, underprivileged meaning they don't have cars or fancy clothes, but that's not necessarily makes you privileged. If you have a beautiful life, beautiful surroundings, you're in touch with your family and support system, I think that word is not so appropriate. I don't see these kids as underprivileged. They're not wealthy, but I didn't grow up wealthy. But they're not looking to fill their life with things to make them happy. So for me, that isn't underprivileged. They're ahead of the game, if you ask me. They could teach America some things, really honestly. And so it was just such a beautiful, beautiful experience. People, they're also beautiful. They're part Aboriginal, part what do they call it? What do they call it? Indigenous. Part indigenous mixed with Brazil has 1,000 races. Yeah, they were literally. I mean, I showed you pictures of these teenage girls, and they were so beautiful. I don't know what I expected, but I did not expect really beautiful. It's just beautiful. Amazon, go to Amazon.
Yeah, well, in Mato Grosso, as you know, Mato Grosso as well, we have a lot of Amerindians, the natives. We have a lot as well, of some places. Actually, my mom works with them. My mom, they come to the city for the university like twice a year, and they bring their families as well. They bring the little kids. My mom look after the kids, and then she goes like, oh my God, sometimes they come to talk to me. They are so like polite, the way they approach you. They're so polite and nice. Yeah, just like the cutest.
Yeah, it was just a really beautiful experience. And actually, the guy who sort of ran the part of the school where we stayed, he actually used to make a living cutting down the Amazon forest. And he was saying he just had this moment where he felt like this. I don't know if it was a bird or something happening, and he realized that what he was doing wasn't actually these had life. These were living things that he was killing for what? For commercialism. And he stopped, and now he said, whenever he goes into water, he goes into the forest, he asks the permission before he kills a fish. That it's just a respect for life that I really, really dug. I love that. So now I'm going to think about that when I go into the forest, or if I catch a fish and eat it. Thank you for this bounty or whatever. It was really, really beautiful. It changed my opened my eyes.
Amazing. Okay, Jim, next question for you is, what's the soundtrack of your life and why you consider that?
Like the artist, or like the song, like a song, or
A song. Like what's the this?
That's a good question. Soundtrack of my life. Oh, I don't want to change questions because I like this question, but it takes some thought, right? Pick the sound of the song. Okay, I'm gonna go. This is not gonna be an obvious choice, but I'm gonna go with "Raspberry Beret" by Prince. Prince is a huge Prince fan, and I love the way Prince has always thought outside of the box. He wrote a hit song called "Raspberry Beret." Like, that's weird, bizarre, but I always felt like I was like that. Like, I saw things just a little different, and I didn't understand why people didn't see it the way I saw it, you know. And so when I heard that song, I was like, maybe Prince would write a song that has everyone singing like these ridiculous words about a hat, you know. But it's got a groove, and I felt like a groove. It's a little bit dirty, you know. Prince has got a little dirt, I'm a little bit dirty. So it's and a lot of happy, which is I'm sort of my resting place is sort of like a happy-go-lucky guy. So I would have never thought that that's the song I would pick, but that's what came to mind. So I love Prince.
Great. Ready for the last one now?
Yes, let's go.
Let's do it, Jim. Oh, I got some moves in the head. Right, the last question for you is, who do you count the most for help?
My sister. My sister, she's about 4 years older, and when my mother brought me home to the hospital, I was her baby, right? She took care of me, she babysat, and she's just sort of been in my corner my whole life. We're super close. She's the first person I tell everything to, and she's always has been unconditional, always been in my corner, and she's still there. I mean, even during the pandemic, she's helped me, and I don't know. I just am super grateful that I have. I mean, I love all my brothers and sisters, but she is the one I would go to always, even when my parents were still alive. Go through her. She's just she's got a cat. She rescues cats. She's got that kind of heart. She's a great mom. So definitely my sister.
Very good. I'm sure she's gonna be very happy to see that in the future.
She knows I say it all the time. So I make like video montages for her 60th birthday. She calls me crying.
Okay, Jim. It's not the end of the show yet. Let's play now the quick thinking game. So I'm going to give away some words, and you just tell me one word that comes to your mind. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Let's start with family.
Family. Papa.
Money.
Okay.
Love.
Passion.
Life.
No. Adventure.
Okay. Sex.
Sex.
Yeah.
Love it.
Politics.
Headache.
Religion.
Dangerous.
I like that. Fear.
Overrated.
Friendship.
Forever.
Desire.
Problematic.
Regrets.
None.
Success.
Grateful.
Happiness.
Work.
Wish.
Serenity.
Okay. How about the Village People Band? One word.
Party.
Like that. Right. And if I tell you New York, one word.
Dreams.
And the last one now, Brazil.
Soul.
Oh, I like this one. Very good. Okay, let's pretend now I'm going to meet your lovely sister, the one you're very close to, and I'm going to ask her, tell me the most beautiful thing about Jim and tell me something that he needs to improve on. What do you think she'll tell me?
The most beautiful thing about Jim is his courage. The thing he needs to work on is is stubbornness.
It can be a good thing. Look in the positive way.
It can be good. It can be good and bad. It's not super great in relationships, but it can be good when people are trying to take advantage of you, for sure.
That's true. And if I would ask the same question to your fiancé, he would say the same as your sister or a different answer?
I think he would probably answer the first one different. He would probably say the best thing about Jim is his passion. He would probably say that, and he would say stubbornness for sure. Stubbornness or pride. He might say pride.
Cool. Okay, let's play now Jim and the Magic Box, and you can ask me a question, okay? But
okay.
Before that, let's play the music one more time, and I want to see your moves again. Oh, there we go. You can ask me a question now, Jim.
Okay, I'm curious about people like you who make their own doors and open them. So what inspired you to start this show?
Right. I think what inspires me, Jim, is the fact that I've always been fascinated with people, like connect with people. And I'm so fascinated to see people around the planet just sharing their, the way they live, their opinions, their positivity, negativity, their memories in life. So I think for me, what's fascinating about the show, the inspiration, is just to see how people are like interesting, how much we have to share, how situations we go through in our lives, how many issues we go through, how many lessons we learn. And I think that when we share that, I think people, they can connect with each other as well. I started the show shooting last year, and then since I launched the show, I've done already almost 400 people worldwide. And I've seen people connect with each other. It's fun enough. When I started out, like last year, when I did one interview with a head teacher from America, I don't remember which state it was, but he was a head teacher, and he said that for many years he was punishing himself, like as the fact he was gay, and now he's in a better place now because he accepted the way he is. And actually, I was doing the shoot with someone from Australia, and he said to me that he watched this interview and he was much younger, and said, "William, I was going through the same situation as him, and just listen to his interview. I just felt so like just nice that to hear someone another part of the world went through the same situation I'm going through right now." And when this person told me that, I was like, oh my God, it just made me my entire year, because and I was like, you can imagine people connect with each other. And the whole inspiration is just the fact that I can listen to people's stories. When I was listening to your story, like in the theater, and I was like, I could see you like flowing around, like this beautiful feeling. So that's the biggest inspiration for me in the show, to do this show.
I have mad respect for that. I mean, I think the world is changing with the social media and internet, and I think people you can't wait for doors to open. You got to build the door and you got to open it. So people like you ask me, do you want to do an interview? I have such respect for that, because it's changing the industry. It's changing my industry. I know a lot of people now are just, they're not waiting to get cast in a show. They're writing it. They're getting, GoFundMe, and they just shoot their independent film and they put it out there. I know how much work what you're doing is, so I have so much respect for
thank you
who are not waiting for life to happen. I just really respect that.
Thanks so much. My God, listen to that. Just made my another year now. I've got to make my next year.
Good. You can skip to 2022 now.
No, thanks so much. Thanks for the kind words. My God, listen, that for someone's experience like you, like when have so much experience in life, it's just like it's a gift. Thanks so much. I really appreciate that.
And just know, like that guy, that other teacher in Australia, there's probably you have no idea how many teachers are going to see this. I get messages all the time. People say to me like, why are you posting you kissing your boyfriend? Why do you, that's private. Why should you post that? I said, I've been watching straight people kiss in movies, television, on the street my entire life. I didn't grow up seeing a single man kiss another man. If I had seen that, if that had been normal growing up, can you imagine how much pain and suicide and death that could cause? It's almost shocking the first time you see it. After that, then it's just two people kissing, and then you don't even see it anymore. So I think it's important to put images out there that people like me when I was 13 or this teacher can hang on to and give them you know, just something to let their anxiety breathe and go, okay, I'm not alone, you know? I think it's important.
Absolutely. And I must say as well, when I invited you online, I didn't think you would reply to me. And when you replied my message, I was like, what? My God, I was like over the moon, like when you replied to me. And actually, I was a bit intimidated. I must say, I was intimidated at the beginning. I was like, oh my God, how it goes now. But you made me feel comfortable. You're very chilled, very approachable as well. And I think that's, it makes a difference, because before the interview, I was already kind of a bit like nervous, you know, intimidated.
No,
like,
I'm so laid back. I'm easy. But I've worked with people, and I've learned, like actors that are famous, celebrities that I've worked with who are super gracious always to the people and grateful for the people. Because if I don't have an audience, I don't have a job, right? So if I don't have people to follow me on Instagram or pay to see our show, I don't have a job. So if I take that for granted, that's not cool, you know? So all my people are like, wow, you answered my message. I was like, I read every single one of my online messages, like those old people used to write letters. I mean, sometimes I can't write messages, but I don't know. I think people need to be seen. People want to be seen. They want to be heard. And till I die, I'm going to be listening, seeing, and hearing people. And say, I see you. I saw you. I saw your message. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate the reply. Thanks so much. Thanks for being part of the show. But before you go, if you don't mind to share a positive message, a positive quote, something that inspires you in life.
You know what inspires me? The open-mindedness of children. Because I was in a relationship for 8 years, and he came with twin boys, 3-year-old twin boys, and he was married to a woman when they had the kids. So it was sort of an awkward transition. But the kids grew up, their first memories were of he and I together and then their mom. And one day we were all at dinner, Cole was like 6, and he was just talking about something, and he said about something, I forgot what he was talking about. He said, it's like Daddy and Jimmy, you're gay with Jimmy, aren't you, Daddy? And the wife was like, he froze. He was like, do you know what gay is? And he's like, yeah, gay is like when a guy likes a guy or a girl likes a girl, and then there's another kind of gay when someone calls you gay at school to hurt your feelings. I know, at 6 years old, and he got it. He got it. It can be used for love, or someone can weaponize it and make it a negative. And I was like, how did he even process that? And the best part about it, what they were like, yeah, that's right. And he was like, yeah, what's the big deal? You know, if we're taught not to think that way, right? Like that was a natural kid's observation of what this was. Why would there be anything wrong with it, right? And so it's so interesting. I'm so inspired by kids who have that, and parents who can listen to that and go, oh yeah, that's the truth of a child. That's what I need to have, not the truth of an adult, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. As they say, if you like to learn a lesson, just sit down for 10 minutes with a 85 years old person or a 5 years old kid.
Yes.
And believe me, you're gonna change your day, your week, and your whole year, because you're gonna learn a lot from this 10 minutes conversation with, you know,
it is true.
5 years old or 85 years old, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Jim, thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Thanks so much. Keep enjoying Brazil, okay? Keep enjoying the most you can. Regards.
Well, when you get your television show, I'm coming back on, okay? No, I mean when a network picks you up and gives you your own talk show, that's what I'm talking about. Because that's what I think is gonna happen. I think someone's gonna see this and think, oh, he's a natural. That's what I think is gonna happen. That's what I see for you. To have your own talk show.
You just made now 2023, 2024, 2025.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All the best, okay? All the best.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
Take care,
it.
of us.
Oh, take care. Bye-bye. Ciao.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why do you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.